Okay, this is my third installment for this speaker box. I decided to try something a little bit different. What I'm doing here is I went ahead and I put tape across here for like a nice straight line, and this should actually help whenever I go to cut the excess material off, because you know you'll still want to try to get it really straight whenever you're using your brush, but what this is gonna maybe help with is not get so much excess onto the actual material, and it should make it easier to cut off. This is the first time I've done it this way, so we're gonna see. I've done it all the way around with my seal. Obviously you can't see that, but you can see I did the sides, I did the back. So once I get this fiberglass, it should actually help it out some. Okay, now don't forget to pre-cut a piece of your cloth to approximately the shape of where you want it to be braced the most. I guess technically if it was a much bigger box I would just go ahead and do all around, but in the smaller areas it's not as big a deal unless you start getting into like real high wattage, and then you want to brace as much as possible. But up here there's a large span of space, and that's gonna flex more the thinner it is, and you want to kind of keep it solid. So a nice one layer would be fine for basic purposes like I use, and I'll probably still put another piece on the inside too maybe, but anyways, this is going to be your brace where you kind of want it the most, so to say. I mean, if you really want to, you can do the whole thing inside and outside if you're going to run like real high wattages, but if you're just getting an amp and a set of subs from like Walmart, I wouldn't even worry about it, because there's no way you're going to drive them hard enough to even flex this box that much. And that's mostly what these are for. Small little systems that you just want your own custom box for. You make them yourself and you've got a nice little custom box. You can paint it any color you want. You can do anything you want with it. You know, carpet it, not carpet it. One of my subscribers actually mentioned in one of my last videos that being it's so small, to put ports in it, you're gonna lose quite a bit of airspace. And this is true, but the box is built to the specifications that it should be, technically, to have 2 ports in it. So, but I don't know, I may just keep it sealed anyways, just because I like the way sealed boxes sound. So we'll find out later though. For now, this is going to be the fiberglassing portion of this speaker box. You got your little measuring cups, you got your chip brush, you got your hardener, you got your fiberglass resin. And maybe I can, should be more than enough for what we're doing. Now we add our hardener. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm just guessing. So then we mix it up really, really good here. And then we will proceed to especially when it's thick, around your edges, because that's what's going to hold it on. Try to keep it from separating if, you know, if you're pushing a lot of watts. Also, what you can do after you get it all put together and hardened up and stuff and get it all cut and trimmed, you can drill a couple of holes in each of the sides and actually put like a small little 1-inch, or put a couple of little 1/2-inch screws in it to actually connect it together if you choose to. Like I say, all of this is kind of up to you. I give you ideas, I give you suggestions, you do what you want with them. Being this is where you're going to mount your speakers at, you kind of want it to turn out pretty smooth and even too, you know, because if you don't, then it'll be hard for them to get a good seal, and you want your speakers to seal well, obviously. If you get air leaks and stuff, that's no good. So, okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this piece on right quick before I finish up the bottom. So we can get that done right quick while we still got plenty to use. And I remember seeing a video on here. This guy was doing nothing but complaining the whole time he was doing this. Because I was just kind of checking out to see how many videos there was, and I happened to run across this one. He was doing a 350Z, and he was just complaining the entire time he was doing it. Oh, this stuff stinks, it's nasty, it's god awful. You know what? It's a chemical. It's fiberglass resin. I assure you, it stinks. It's nasty. You should do it in a well-ventilated area, and if you don't have the stomach for anything like, you know, chemicals and stuff, then don't do it. Don't waste your time even trying. Just don't do it. Leave it to somebody else to do. Somebody that does like it. Somebody that does do it. You know, don't hurt yourself, or don't do more than what you think your body can handle in this life. And if you don't think you can handle the stinchy stink nastiness of some fiberglass resin, then don't do it. Don't waste your time. But if you think you can handle it, if you know you can handle it, go for it. I'm more than glad to show you these videos so you know how to do it. And like I say, we learn stuff along the way. I'm learning stuff all the time, and I want to pass that on to you guys. Or I may try something that's never been tried before, which, I don't know, at this point in life, it's probably not a lot that ain't been done, but I just may have a different way of doing the same shit. So, like I say, if you can't handle a little bit of stinky fiberglass, don't do it. Don't. Just don't. If you can't handle Bondo dust, don't do it. Let somebody else do it. Go to your 9 to 5 and get your money and pay for somebody to do it. It's not a big deal. I've paid for people to do shit that I know how to do, just because I just didn't feel like doing it, or I didn't have the place to do it, or the time. So it's kind of on you in life. You make your own decisions, you make your own choices. If you want to stand the stink for a little while, just so you have you a nice, decent box, something fancy, maybe you could show off to your friends or whatnot, then do it. If not, let somebody else do it. You can still show it off. Be like, yeah, check out this booming box I got. This is badass. So, anyways, I think that's going to do it for now on the fiberglassing. Gotta let it dry, let it soak up and dry up and be nice and hard. And there you have it. And don't forget, when this hardens up, you can actually chip that out of there and you can still keep using those plastic cups. So I'm going to try to investigate that. I'm sure I can find an answer for that online. Like I say, it gooped up. It got nasty and thick and it hardened up in there. I had to drill through it in order to get to it. It kind of upset me because I've never seen that before. So I'm going to check that out. Because I know I had it sealed. Because I had it on there pretty tight. Okay, well, I may have to do another coat here in a minute. But I'm going to call that done for the moment. Because I actually need to take me a quick break. And then I'll get back to it, I guess. Give it a little while to dry. You can actually cut this excess off while it's still wet. And that'll actually help make it a lot easier to cut it off and to make it straight. Obviously, you want to make sure you got a nice sharp blade. But even at that, sometimes it's still a pain in the butt. This isn't nowhere near dry, so it takes about 2 hours for fiberglass to set up. So you've got plenty of time to decide if this is how you want to do it or not. Because our end result, we want this to look as even and as nice as possible. Maybe the bottom don't matter so much, but when you are going to put carpet on it, you want it to be halfway even on the bottom. So our overall goal is to get it as straight as possible, and that wasn't a very good blade. Not as good as I thought it was. Now you can kind of just get the tape and the excess off of there. If you have staples that stay, don't worry, you can pull them out with pliers or whatever, or just leave them in there if you want. Some of them you'll have to pull out, and some of them you can pull out if you choose to. If they're all the way in there, then I wouldn't worry about it, but if they're sticking out, I'd pull them out. Okay, ta-da, there's our excess. As you can see, it's relatively straight. It's not too terrible. It's not the worst I've ever done. Okay, actually I'm getting ready to do the second coat now. This isn't cured. Like I said, this takes about 2 hours. to get completely set up and hardened. So it's actually not as liquidy as it was. It's set up for a little while. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mix some up. I'm gonna do another coat. It's gonna be kind of a smoothing coat. And that'll be good times. I'll make it smoother, of course, obviously. This will be like a smoothing coat, and it'll just kind of help smooth that out a little bit more. Because the coat that's underneath it has already started to harden up a little, it actually sits on top of it better, and it's like smoothing out a coat of paint, so to say. So you'll see how that works here in a minute. You want this to be pretty smooth before you even get to sanding it and stuff. If you can do this right, you can minimize having to use any Bondo at all. I mean, like none at all. Some people just use Bondo as in just another layer, and you can do that if you want, but for the most part, if you do this right, you can really minimize your use of Bondo. Flip this over. Now, it's kind of up to you if you want to do the inside or not. I've done boxes without doing the inside, and they were fine. They were just fine. Sounded fine, nice and strong, sturdy, decent boxes. Like I say, these ones that I make, you know, depending on how much work and time and effort and money you want to put into one of these, will depend on what it can take, what it can handle. I mean, there's fiberglass boxes that have been built that take thousands of watts. Or like me, mine are built for like wal-mart systems, because I can't go out and spend 100 grand on a stereo system. So I don't. If I could, yeah, I'd probably build one that could handle something like that. Probably would. Probably would. But in the end, it's kind of up to you and what your application is, what you're using it for. If you're using it for a wal-mart system, you don't got to put much into it. If you're using it for something a little bit more, you want to thicken it up, make it harder, make it a bigger box, better box. Don't forget to use your speaker box calculators, calculate your airspace, if you need a port, if you don't need a port, if you just want a port. I use the 12volt.com website with the calculators. They're pretty accurate. They're really accurate, actually. So I'm really putting these rings kind of heavy because I just want to make sure that they're really smooth and they're really nice and even. You'll have to do You'll have to do around the rings on the inside for sure. You definitely want to do your rings on the inside. On the outside of the rings, there's an edge that's inside there on the outside, and you'll definitely want to do that with a nice thick kind of a glob in there all the way around it, so that it makes it a nice solid connection to from the ring to the fleece, to the fiberglass, to the mold, to, you know, because you're gonna want it to be nice and solid. You're not gonna want the ring to fall out. A lot of times, a lot of people take the framework out. I leave it in there. That just makes it more solid. So a lot of this is all up to you. What you want to do with your speaker box. If you don't want to do the inside and you think that the outside is enough to do, and you've got it finished and it looks pretty good and it feels nice and sturdy and stout and strong, then by all means, call it done. Sometimes I wait until the outside of it dries before I even decide to put another layer on. We'll get to the rest of it as soon as possible, as soon as it's ready.